Welcome back to Race Report. It's that time of the year at the start of the season where we get to sit down and judge all of the teams' liveries, compare, contrast, and, in my opinion, put them in a ranking. Of course, this is very opinion based, so feel free to pop your opinions down in the comments as well. Even if you disagree with me, just give me a shout out. Hey, let's get stuck straight in by saying I will not be reviewing the Haas livery. Obviously, we did see two different liveries from Haas in the testing period. However, I don't believe we'll be seeing either of those liveries again during the season. So I'm going to leave them out. Maybe we could come back to it in the future when they do find their final livery and we could review them then. But they did have their Uralkali livery painted like the Russian flag, as was last season. But they've since dropped that sponsor and dropped that livery. On the third day of testing, they went for an all-white livery. I doubt that'll be their final look. So, yeah, not going to review them, just out of fairness, really. That does mean 9th place is last place, and that is for Alpine this year. A shocker, because they were actually quite high in my list last season. Loved their livery last year. Thought it really stood out well. Beautiful looking car. Beautiful looking colours on it as well. This year, not so much, unfortunately. They do have two liveries. They are running a pink livery for the first two races. However, what I'm really reviewing here is their other livery, the blue and pink one that they'll be running at the remaining races. Quick thought on the pink livery. I kind of like it. It's very reminiscent of the old Force India Racing Point pink livery with BWT branding. I don't associate that pink branding with an Alpine car. I associate that pink branding with a Force India or a Racing Point. So in my head, I'm going to be very confused those first two races. However, onto the real livery, full livery, rest of the season livery, whatever you want to call it, the pink and blue, I think it's a bit of a mess, unfortunately. The Alpine blue is still present across the top of the car. However, there is massive pink chunks on the side and a rear wing, and little highlights towards the front of the car as well, across the front wing, pink, number pink, that kind of thing, and around the airbox at the back. To me, it just doesn't really fit too well, unfortunately. It doesn't feel like there's been any effort made to mesh the two colours. It feels like we need pink here, we need blue here, and there's been no communication between the two pink and blues. So it does feel kind of like a car of two halves. Also, one thing that annoys me a little bit, and I get it, it's branding, it has to stay this colour, whatever. BWT blue is not the same as Alpine blue. So you actually have two different shades of blue on this car, and it's for two different brands, so it's a bit weird. But anyway, that is number 9. That is Alpine. At number 8, we have Williams. I'm not down on the Williams car like I was on the Alpine car just now. However, I just think this is a good livery in a season where we're having a lot of great liveries, if you know what I mean. Williams made a big change. They got rid of their customary blue, light blue and white they've had over the course of several years now. They've gone to a more darker blue with light blue highlights and red as well. I think the red is really understated. I think it's only used in 3 or 4 parts of the car, and it is a very light splash, with the most notable bit being the surrounding the airbox. There's a few shades of blue on there. So there's the dark blue that inhabits the wings. There's a, bit of a lighter blue with the whole body. And then there's an even lighter, more recent Williams blue in with the red there as well, in just little splashes. It's not bad. It's pretty good, but it's just not at the level of the other liveries we have here on this list. So, decent attempt from a new look from Williams, I think. More to come, hopefully, from them in the future years. In 7th place, we have Red Bull. And this might come as a surprise for a lot of people who've been viewing the channel for a little while now, as I'm usually pretty positive about these Red Bull liveries. They're all mostly the same, right? So it's the Red Bull livery. However, this car I feel is a little bit different, and that's because of the body shape. Red Bull have gone with a really aggressive body shape, which means that they have basically no side panel in which to have their livery on. It's all floor. So that's really kind of affected what they could do with the livery. And they've tried to like shove a nice big oracle down the side of the car. But if you look at it from a side on, the most of the side of the car is actually just floor that they cannot put a livery on. So I think it really does affect what they can do with this car. They also have a blank rear wing, or they did, at least in testing, have a blank rear wing if forward facing. And I thought they could do something with that they've not. But, you know, whatever. Hopefully a sponsor will pop up there in the season. That's all good. The rest of the livery, of course, just classic Red Bull. Very nice. Very clean. Very likeable. However, it's just that new feature of the side pod that has kind of moved this down in my estimation. Like I said earlier, it's a very strong gear for liveries, so the fact that they've taken a step backwards moves them quite far down the list. In 6th, I've gone with Mercedes. They've gone back to their classic Silver Arrows look, silver body with the bluey, greeny, turquoisey Patronus logo on the front wing, the rear wing, and the stripe down the side with red Ineos highlights as well. I'll start off by saying I really like the black Mercedes cars, but I do understand why they've gone back to the silver look. I mean, they are the Silver Arrows after all. Silver is their brand colour, so fair play to them. They've brought it back, and it's been a while since we've seen it. It seems like a pretty basic livery, to be honest. It's a big silver bodied car with a turquoise stripe down the side, different colour wings, and then you've got the red Ineos logo on the airbox at the top, on the wings and the wheel, and around the wheels as well. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Ineos red. I never have been on the Mercedes cars. I always feel like it stands out a little bit too much and it isn't blended into the car well enough. And that is still apparent on this car as well. So I think it's another one of those solid but not spectacular liveries in a season where we have pretty good liveries. I keep saying that, but it's still true every time. So Mercedes fall to the middle of the field. In 5th, I've gone with Alfa Tauri. I really like this Alfa Tauri livery. We're starting to move into the beautiful cars now. I really like this Alfa Tauri livery. I was a big fan of their livery last season, and this seems like a step forward from that livery last season. They've just refined it a little bit more, added a bit more white around the cockpit, tidied a few things up, and it looks like a really nice car. I love the curve of the brand name Alfa Tauri on the side pod that they've got going on there. It matches with the flow of the bodywork and it's beautiful. The way the blue and the white just mesh together works really well. Very simple, just two colour scheme car, but they pull it off really, really well. Beautiful looking car, and they're in 5th place. 4th place has gone to Alfa Romeo. Now, we've not seen too much about this car on track. They just had their one shakedown day because they were using a camo livery in testing. However, we have seen the renders from the full livery, and boy, does this car look really, really good. Again, very simple livery, two-color livery, but the way everything blends together, really, really nice. Its primary colour is the Alfa Romeo red, as usual, but it has this nice white cut coming over the cockpit. The halo is still coloured red, so that's a nice contrast there. I really enjoy that. And of course, all the logoing and stuff is in white. However, they do have a nice touch on the very tip of the nose, with that being white and the end plates on the front wing being white as well. Just makes it stand out, gives it a little kick, looks very, very nice. And they've done one thing that I've been banging on all off season, is they've taken the wheel covers and incorporated them into the livery. Bonus points for you, Alfa Romeo. I've been saying whole off season, I wonder what teams will do with the wheel covers and how they'll incorporate them. Alfa Romeo just gone for a two-tone red and white in there, but it's still more than most people have done. So I'm really appreciative of that. Definitely get some bonus points for sure. In 3rd place, I've gone with McLaren. And this might come as a bit of a surprise to you if you follow me on Twitter, because when the render came out for the McLaren car, I said I was pretty unsure about the blue colour. coming through. I've now put that to bed, very thankfully. When we saw the car out on track, I was thoroughly put wrong. That car looked amazing. Its primary colour is still the papaya orange that we know from last season. However, the dark blue has transitioned into a much lighter blue, which surrounds the nose piece, goes down the side and into the rear wing. There are also another team which has used their wheel covers for their brand colours as well. Bonus points, McLaren, nice one. I do like how the livery of this car flows. The blue is incorporated into almost every piece of the car. I think it's just missing off the front wing. I also like their use of black on this one as well. The side of the car has heavy black pieces, also the rear wing and the halo, the underside of the halo. There's like heavy influences of black again on the front nose as well, but they're just used for highlighting the primary colors. It's not a primary color in itself, it's just used to make the orange or the blue stand out. It's really well used. I really appreciate that. I also appreciate them using this as a brand color across all of their cars in Extreme E and IndyCar as well. That was a really good launch, I thought, for them, where they like lined up all of the cars and showed everything. They also did show off their After Dark livery. I mean, I love that. At the time when they showed that off, with the renders of the actual livery, I think I liked the After Dark livery more. However, there's no chance we'll get to see it. I just love that it's there and it's pretty cool. But yeah, so McLaren have done a really, really good job there, I think. In second place, I've gone with Aston Martin. Now this is a beautiful, beautiful car produced by Aston Martin. It is the Aston Martin British Racing Green all over with their lime green tint. If you've ever seen their GT cars racing, you'll know exactly the colour scheme they've gone for here. It's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted from Aston Martin when their brand came back into the sport, and we finally have it. It's a fairly simple livery, but an effective one. It is solid British Racing Green with the lime green stripe running from the tip to the tail in just kind of like a highlighting nature. It's not overpowering, just there to accent the car and the Aston Martin logo itself. All the other branding on the car is white text, which makes it stand out pretty well on the green. There's not much to say about it, to be honest. It's just a beautiful looking car. And that does mean that first place, number one, best livery, in my opinion, goes to Ferrari. Again, Ferrari just have a very simple livery. It's just a Ferrari red mixed with a simple black. Two-tone, very simple, but very, very effective. It just highlights the right part of the car. Like all the suspension's black, the front wing is black, the rear wing is black, and the body of the car, the bit you want to look at, the shape of it, all in Ferrari red. And it perfectly plays into what I appreciate as well. I like the keep it simple side of things, so I like these 1 to 2 tone cars, and I think Ferrari is the pinnacle of this. Keep it simple and don't overdo it. I did quite like the Ferrari livery last season as well. However, the Mission Winnow logo really, really ruined that for me. I'm so glad they've got rid of that this season, and I think they've taken a massive step forward as a result. So that's it. That is my livery ranking list for the 2022 F1 season. It's sad we couldn't fit Haas in here. Maybe I can work in a way to edit them in once they do come out with their, hopefully, full-time livery for this season. But what did you all think? If you're on YouTube, let me know in the comments. If you're an audio listener, do hit me up on social media. Let me know your rankings. Let me know if you felt that I went too far on any of these or anything like that. And I'll catch you in the next one.